Welcome to Talking with Joe, where we talk with leaders shaping the future of design, building, and materials innovation. I'm your host, Joseph, and today we're here joined with Jesse White, the founder and CEO of Saratoga Architectural Salvage, a true icon in Florida's building materials and design community. Since opening in 2003, Sarasota Architectural Salvage has become a go-to destination for designers, builders, and do-it-yourselfers alike. Known for its unique blend of reclaimed treasures and creative building materials. In 2011, they were named Retailer of the Year by the Florida Retail Association, and they continue to set the bar high ever since. So welcome to the show, Jesse.
Happy to be here.
Good stuff. Good. Well, let's start with this. So I'm pronouncing that correct. Sarasota Architectural Salvage has been somewhat a legendary in Florida's design world. So how did the idea of your company first come about?
My background is in environmental resource management. And so my idea was to find innovative ways to keep really cool stuff from going to the landfill. And so I actually have a Master of Science in environmental resource management. And so that was my inspiration. And because, just keeping materials out of the landfill is one thing, but I felt that there was also a really big need for things that had design quality, good bones, if you will. And we've expanded it from just building materials to antiques and collectibles as well. So it's a kind of unique operation. I think we're one of the only kind of stores like this that has a true building materials sort of background, and that's sort of our meat and potatoes. But we also have a lot of fun stuff. So basically, everyone from the family can come in and enjoy themselves here.
Oh, excellent. Beautiful. So what gap or opportunity did you see in the market back when you started?
I got started from the recycling side of things. So I was helping municipalities and large businesses set up recycling programs and do innovative waste diversion programs. And what I found was that, people were thinking, okay, it's better to take this wrought iron gate and recycle it than to throw it in the landfill. And that's true. Mm-hmm. But I was looking at some really beautiful pieces go to recycling, which I thought, these materials are much better used. It's a higher and better use to have them reused and repurposed rather than recycled. So a wrought iron gate can relive as a wrought iron gate or relive as in a bedroom as sort of a backboard or something like that, rather than it being smelted down to become a tin can.
Gotcha. Yes.
And the other thing is that, Florida is in a lot of ways, it's very ephemeral. There's a lot of construction and demolition that goes on here. And so we serve a niche there with not all demolition products, but with some of them to kind of keep it from going and being lost forever. So we provide that opportunity, especially for some of the character materials like Hecky cypress and wrought iron and these kind of elements, old 5-panel doors, elements that can be used in design and rehab for houses that are being restored.
Oh, excellent. What were some of the early challenges you faced in getting people excited about your reclaimed materials?
So people aren't always aware of the value, and so explaining that value proposition has always been a challenge and continues to be a challenge for us. That there is a lot of cost involved with salvage. It's not like it's free. I mean, even if it were free, I still have labor, insurance, all these other aspects to go out and get these materials. If there would, I pretty much treat it all for termites before it comes into the store. These are all expenses that cause the product to be of a better quality when it's all said and done, but they're also an expense. So someone might come into our store and think that it's just going to be an absolute freebie, and they'll be surprised that it does have a cost. So that's always a problem. But, the design community embraces this kind of opportunity because they are looking for character when they're doing their
Hmm.
projects. So,
Hmm.
we have to keep reaching out to new designers in the area. We have to always kind of keep the word out about us. I mean, I think Sarasota's got 100,000 new people in it since I started my business.
Wow.
We got to get out to those people. But that said, a lot of people, it does translate into a value proposition.
Gotcha. Good. So the building materials and design industry has changed so much over the years, from sustainability trends to supply chain shifts. What's working right now in the building materials industry, and what's driving success for companies like yours?
One of our challenges is that we are taking materials that are in buildings that are being torn down, or country clubs that are being renovated. So we have materials that not everybody can see. I mean, we're limited because we're not ordering stuff from a catalog. So
Yes.
that's always been a challenge for us. But there's a lot of there's a segment of the population that is still interested in reuse and recycling, and we
Hmm.
always hit that. But there's also people who really appreciate the value of some of these materials. So, and I see that going forward. Like, people are still looking for character woods to use accent walls in their offices, or in their bedrooms, or in their kitchen areas, or living areas. People want to get something that has a little story that goes along with it. And there is a strong push for that within our community here in Sarasota. So that's
Oh,
always been important. With the hurricanes, there's been a lot of opportunity, unfortunately, for salvage, because there's been a
yes.
lot of houses that have gotten torn down. So, but with that, as we do some greater volume with certain things, it has brought a lot of our prices down. So that's been a nice opportunity for people who want to use the materials. Um,
Good.
yeah.
Good. Yeah. So, have you seen a shift in what customers, especially designers and contractors, are looking for today?
You know what? Our number one customer, I shouldn't tell this to the industry out there, but our number one customer is a restaurant. They have a good budget. They are trying to make a splash,
Mm,
and they are looking for something that is unique, that will set them apart from other um, other restaurants. And they can oftentimes find materials at our store that are of great value, uh, rather than buying it new. So it kind of hits
right.
it hits everything for that customer. Besides that customer who will come in and spend 15, 20, $30,000, I have my DIYers who are just our bread and butter. People are coming in, someone kicked down the door in a rental property and they need a new door. And we
Right.
have a new door that's the right size. Or somebody is adding on to their house. It's a historic home from the 1920s, and they'd like
Mm,
to have a consistency of wood
right.
flooring that would travel throughout the whole house, so people feel
Yeah.
like this addition was always there. So we have those renovators who are coming in and buying our materials.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. No, that's really good. How has the renewed interest in sustainability and upcycling influenced your business model?
It's something that's near and dear to me, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think a lot of people come into my store just because of that. They have a design vision, and they're coming in to get a piece that's going to work with their vision, or they have a need for
Yeah.
a particular kind of material, and they're trying to fit that need. So I think the sustainability is the bonus, but it's not the driving force for our customers, because let's face it, you're not going to walk into a store and buy something just because it's sustainable. You have to have that
Right.
need.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. What trends or product categories are performing particularly well right now for you?
Well, we're in a very mid-century modern phase. People are very interested in that kind of material, um, of which we have some, but it goes quickly.
Yeah.
Um, there's a designer, or a builder here in Sarasota. I believe she's now deceased. She was the first woman contractor here in Sarasota, and her signature uh, her signature for every building was this particular type of knob. They're called
Oh,
Ruth Richmond knobs. Her name's Ruth Richmond, and so it's got a mid-century look. It's got these fleckies, and it's kind of an epoxy kind of handle. Really popular. I can't keep those in. But so besides mid-century modern, the accent walls, there are still a strong market for Pecky cypress and barnwood and live edge slabs and things like that that are just mainstays of the building and design industry. So we sell a lot of doors. We sell a lot of we do sell a lot of furniture when we have it. We sell a lot of stained glass. It changes. We'll go a long period of time. We don't sell a clawfoot tub, and then we'll sell five
yeah,
of them in a month.
yeah.
So it's those trends. They're these undulating sine wave of popularity, but everything seems to come around.
Right. Good. How has your sourcing strategy evolved, especially with global supply issues and
Yeah.
changing customer tastes?
I have brought over containers from overseas of furniture that was made from salvage materials. I'm not
Mm.
doing that anymore because of the tariffs and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, yeah,
but I also was kind of phasing that out as well because there's a lot of stuff that's available locally. And really, as a business that prides itself on sustainability, it's so much better to buy locally than to import something from far away.
yeah.
So, 22 years in business, we have a long list of suppliers, and we get 10 or 15 calls a day with people that have small items for us to buy, a piece of furniture, a lamp, other things like that. So we're very down to the ground with our buying strategies, and we're very, but we're a small company, and I make all the decisions, so we're nimble and we're able to make those decisions quickly and shift around. And we're not dependent on imports in order
Yeah.
to find product or to. Sorry, I have mosquitoes in my office.
No,
But
that's okay. Here, I'll clap with you. So it's
yeah,
like, yay, yay, Jesse.
yeah, we're not dependent on
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
imports. Local business, yeah.
Don't worry, I'll edit. If you want, I could edit that part out.
Or if you
That,
think it's fun, like leave it
yeah,
in. I
no,
don't
you're
care.
right, eh? Yeah, sometimes it's good to be on the humorous side. Perfect. So visiting your store is an experience. It's part retail, part design inspiration, part treasure hunt. What makes the in-store experience Sarasota Architectural Salvage so unique?
So our building is a little bit of a sleeper, and we have this big overhead door as you walk in, and so you can't really tell from the outside how really humongous our store is. But people walk in this door, and it's bright outside, and it's a little darker inside, and their eyes adjust to the lighting, and all of a sudden they're in this magic wonderland of
Mm,
product that stretches up. It's a 30-foot ceilings, and we don't have stuff all the way to 30 feet, but it has this massive
yeah.
space. We do have some doors that are 12 or 15 feet tall, and we have some really big stuff. So people just walk in, and literally they say, "Wow."
Mm,
Like, honestly, if I got $1 from everyone who walked in my store over the years and said, "Wow," I probably would be retired right now. But,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear
yeah, I
you.
mean, it's an experience. I think that as people walk around our store, it brings up memories. They might be in the market for flooring, so they have no reason to be looking at the stuff that's on the shelves, the antiques and collectibles. But all of a sudden, they go back. I might have gotten a collection of Matchbox cars from the
Mm,
'70s, and somebody's like, "Oh, I remember playing with this," or
yeah.
they might see like a little vignette that we set up with a little table and a chair. It's like, "Oh my God, I remember this from my grandma's house,"
Mm,
and so there's a lot of connection to one's personal history when they come to our store, and it adds to that whole experience. And a lot of people they don't want to do their whole house in antiques and collectibles, but they might find one piece that's going to be a showcase, even in a
right.
contemporary or modern house. A little
Mm-hmm.
bit of an vintage or a collectible piece here and there. it really becomes a focal point, and a lot of folks really connect with that as they go
Right.
through.
Right. Good. Do you find that more of your customers come in for inspiration, or do you already know what they are looking for?
There's a percentage of people that literally come in for their retail therapy. They say so. I'm just here to look, and I'm just here for my retail therapy. I just need to be amongst all these beautiful old pieces. And then a lot of people do come in on a mission. I'm looking for a Art Deco hinge to match up to the rest of the hinges in my house,
Mm-hmm.
or I need crystal doorknobs because that's what I need, And
Yeah.
so people do come in with missions, but we also find that there's a lot of people that just kick around.
Right.
So we kind of serve both of those, the spectrum of customers.
Gotcha. So you've built a strong designer and do-it-yourself community. How do you keep those relationships thriving?
Well, it's kind of traditional. We're kind of an esoteric company. It's phone calls, and emails, and we do a newsletter to try to tell people what we have going on in the store. Um, and then, we try to encourage people just to come in on a regular basis to see what's new because our inventory
Mm-hmm.
is constantly flipping over. So,
Mm-hmm.
and we also, I have served on the board of the Interior Design Society here in Sarasota, the Sarasota chapter of the Interior Design Society. And so obviously I'm in contact with a lot of designers that way. I'm in front of them on a monthly basis at our member meetings. Um, and I also host events, trade events here at the store, focused small charity events, things like that, to try to keep in contact with people and give them maybe a reason to come into the store that's not specifically related to their job, but just to come in and have a good time.
Right. Good. Yeah. Makes sense. So the industry continues to evolve with new technologies, sustainability standards, and changing buyer expectations. What have been some of the biggest changes you've had to adapt in recent years?
Um, I think the biggest challenge for us is making sure that our product has a feeling of relevancy, like that everything that we have in the store is good for a project today,
Right.
and not feel like it's stuck in, an era that is not popular or not, not something that people can take home today and plug into their personal landscape. So,
Right.
so that's sort of a challenge, especially when you're dealing with salvage. So we curate the collection so that it's not just anything, but it's something that we feel is relevant to today's design needs. Um, as far as sustainability, there are regulations around, some of our materials are older materials, and we give recommendations of how to make them usable, safe, and functional in your
Right.
home. And these kinds of things are just totally evolving over time as different regulations come out and different standards are met. For
Right.
example, like with hurricane standards, we can't sell any of our historic windows as windows, because they're not hurricane rated. Now, there are
Right.
certain exceptions to that. If you have a historic home, you could do a replacement. You aren't required to put a hurricane window in. But for the most part, let's face it, no one's putting in a single pane,
Yeah.
glass window, plate glass window in a modern home and
Yeah.
calling it hurricane rated. So,
Yeah.
so so our challenge in that case, because there's still cool things, nice old wavy glass,
Mm-hmm.
is to come up with suggestions for our customer base on ways they could use these things differently that wouldn't make their home susceptible to a damaging storm or something like that. So,
Right.
they can be used for art projects. They can be used to make a greenhouse. They can be used, in many different
Mm-hmm.
other ways. And so we're constantly finding new uses for old materials that might be non-traditional, but it allows our customers to kind of, really bring the materials, and we try to keep the stories along with it. Like some of them come from well-known houses here in Sarasota. So we try to keep that story with the window so people can say, I got this window out of such and such a location. And, so they get to take that story with them. And that provenance is something that adds value, even if you're not using it in its original function.
Right, right. Cool. So, how has digital transformation like e commerce and social media affected your business?
Well, I work hard to have a social media presence. I mean, we have about 25,000 followers on Facebook, and
Oh,
you
nice.
know, I don't know. We were a little bit of a late adopter to Instagram, but I think we're up over 5,000 followers there. So we're working hard to make things interesting and fun. I do like little silly videos of me being silly in the store. I've been known to sing and dance and do whatever will catch people's eyes. So I don't mind being silly and
Yeah, yeah,
to bring in a new customer.
yeah.
Um, and so, we've been very fortunate. I've had a couple of really good interns that have taught us a lot about how to stay current. I mean, when we first started, I was a very early adopter for Facebook. And I would put a post out on Facebook about something we were doing in the store. And for the first year or two, that would guarantee 50 to 100 people would come into the store just from that
Wow.
post. And they're value added, like free beer or, some kind of great sale or whatever it was. So there was a
Hmm.
value for them coming in, but you could reach who, people who followed you got our messages, so it was a really good kind of connection. But, social media algorithms change. And so we've had to adapt and adopt.
Yeah.
The other half of your question was about e-com. And we are not a very e-com friendly business because we have 20,000 items and everything is a different size and a different weight and different material. And some are fragile and some need to be shipped on pallets and some can go UPS and then they have to be packed. And so it's a really difficult thing. We do have a very robust e-com site and anything can be purchased on our website. Not 20,000. I think we have about 5,000 items on our website. However, we really do pick up in store or call us for a ship quote. So that kind of puts a real slowing down of an e-com site.
Right.
If we have something that is valuable and easy to ship, we usually use other platforms like eBay or Etsy or some of these other platforms to push those out because it's worth our time to measure and weigh and and package those things for immediate shipment. And so that's the way we handle that.
Okay. Good. Um, when you think about future growth, where do you see Sarasota Architectural Salvage heading next?
That's a good question. I have re-evolved this company many times over the course of its history, and constantly in that mode. So, I don't know in 5 years if we're going to be strictly building materials. I don't know in 5 years if we're going to be strictly antiques and collectibles and downsize to a smaller space. Like I have to kind of anticipate what those trends are going to be over these years and then sort of strategize around that. Right now, uh, we're in a time where there's a lot of uncertainty around the tariffs and how permanent they're
Right.
going to be and what that's going to be. Like, I think there is a potential that the reused furniture business could be a big opportunity if the cost of bringing goods in from overseas ends up really being much more than domestically sourced materials.
Right.
So that's one thing that we're watching really closely, and then the regulations and these last hurricanes that we had in the last couple of years, the use of building materials in projects may be regulated moving forward. So we have to really watch that as well.
Right. Right.
So, but like I've been here 20 years and kind of have a system that works pretty well. And, I feel like even if I just keep doing what we're doing, it's going to be of value to our customer.
Gotcha. Yeah. Makes sense. Good. Before we wrap up, I want to talk about leadership and the human side of what you do. So, what have you learned about leading a creative business over the past 2 decades?
So the funny story is when I first got
Hmm.
started, I was an absolute manager disaster. I every small setback, I blew up into an absolute tragedy, and all my people suffered. And I went through some personal training and personal growth because I said to my assistant, I said, I'm not a bad person, and I really believe in all of you, but I just can't seem to figure out how to get
Yeah.
this going and communicate properly. So
Yeah.
I went through a series of, um, basically growth leadership training, and I emerged a much kinder and gentler boss.
Well, that's great. Good.
And so what that evolved into is I take a pretty hands-off approach, and I delegate a lot of my responsibility down to my team. And so that enables me to do parts of the business that I love, which is buying
Yeah.
and schmoozing. I like going to networking
Yeah.
events and talking to people. And it allows my team to be empowered to sell things that based on their relationship with the buyer or the quantity of materials that they're buying or other matrices that we have set up. So that's really enabled people to feel very empowered to make good decisions.
Yeah.
And as a result, there are many times that I go into the store and I'm quietly working behind the desk and I hear people say to one of my staff, "Are you the owner?" In the way that I know that they feel like they just got service as if this person was the owner. And
Oh,
so that
wow.
is what I think is the absolute best way to run a business is when all of
Hmm.
your people feel empowered to be able to make the right decision. They feel backed up that even if they make a bad decision, we can talk about it. They're not going to get fired, but they're going to get, an education. They have to sit
Hmm.
through, maybe a little bit of a lecture about it, but they know that it's all to make a better, more successful business and not to beat them down personally. So that's
Right.
really, I think, been really one of the keys to what we've done.
Good. So, what do you think has been the key to maintaining longevity and customer loyalty?
Well, we do treat customers very well, I believe. I think that's important in any business, and
Yeah.
everyone says it, but we try to really understand the customer's needs and provide solutions that would work from the customer's perspective, but also protect our store. We're very frugal as a company. We're not flashy. Like, when you come in, it's not. We don't have air conditioning, for example, which probably saves us about $5,000 a month in electricity. I mean, because we're like a 10,000 square foot warehouse with 30-foot ceilings. To air condition this space would be
Oh,
terribly
yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
It makes for a
Outrageous.
little discomfort for our customers during the summertime and my team, but anyhow, we all deal with it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of being very frugal in the way that we operate and very generous in the way that we treat our customers. And I think that's why people come back and always bringing in stuff that is interesting. I mean, the bottom line is you can treat someone well, but if they don't have a reason to come back, they're not going to come back, you
Right.
know? And
Yeah.
so we constantly work on bringing in stuff that's cool and interesting and reasonably priced, and it's going to serve a purpose or give you a wow piece to build a whole room around. So by having that quality and constantly changing inventory, that allows the reason why to come in, and all the rest is just, what you have to do in order to be open.
Right. Good. So, how would you define success today, both personally and professionally?
So, well, this is very personal, but I will say that I took an extended vacation this year, and I left. I was on the road for 6 months with my
Wow.
wife. We went on an RV trip,
Oh,
and to
nice.
be able to do that and have a successful business when I left, a, suce- a, suce- an operating and successful business as we traveled, and then a successful and operating business when we came back. That is to me a huge measure of success and a testament to my team who really diligently worked while we were gone, made decisions in my stead when they couldn't reach me, and really that's what I think every entrepreneur dreams of, is being able to
Mm,
have the time to do the things that they deem important. And I've been able to do that. So, um, that, and I own the building, and I'm almost, I'm honing in on paying it off. So, that's
yeah,
another,
yeah,
that's another big success. And if I had one piece of advice to anyone who is, starting a business or operating an operation, and try to buy your building. I
yeah,
know, it's something that grows with you as your business expands, and it's always an asset that you have. Your business
yes,
is your primary asset because it's what produces income and everything. But that building that you operate out of, no one plans to fold. So if you're going to be in business for 20 years, you could own the building you're in.
yeah.
And so, you know, I that's something that I think has been very good for us, and it's helped us because honestly, I don't know if I could afford to be in the building that I'm in today. Like I couldn't afford to rent it today. And over
Right.
the years, as rents have gone up and down, owning my building has really stabilized everything and made it something that's been very helpful to the overall picture of operations.
Right, right. Yeah, and I agree with that. A previous position I had was dealing with mom and pa vacuum dealers. I worked for Eureka, but the ones that were doing well and they bought their building, they're paying it off, and they're going to use it as their little nest egg. So when it comes to retiring, it's just you sell the building and the business. Well, then you probably got a decent chunk of cash coming in for your retirement. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Good. Well, we're almost there. Okay. So, Jesse, this has been fantastic. Sarasota Architectural Salvage is such a great example of creativity, sustainability, and entrepreneurship coming together in one place. So, for listeners who want to learn more or visit your store, what's the best way to find you?
Well, we have a web page, of course. It's sarasotasalvage.com, and that's great. Our Facebook page is updated weekly or more than. Our Facebook page is a great place to come to, and our Instagram. We're Sarasota Salvage on Facebook, and gosh, I don't know I think we're SRQ Architectural Salvage on Instagram. But
Gotcha.
but those are great ways. I mean, really, Facebook, like, I know that's not everyone's jam these days, but we do a lot of postings to that. We do little walkthroughs with a video, just a live walkthrough on a Saturday morning, probably 2 Saturdays a month. We do that. We do little videos of what we have going on. So Facebook is really the best way to stay in touch with what we're doing. And of course, come on in. I mean, it's 1093 Central Avenue, Sarasota,
Yeah.
Florida. Or you can give us a call at 941-955-6699. And we're a little bit off the beaten path, but it is worth the effort to get here. It is a treasure hunt. And, you really got to come in to really appreciate what we have here.
Oh, that's great. Perfect. Well, thanks again, Jesse, and thank you to everyone turning in to Talking with Joe. Be sure to follow the show for more conversations with leaders reshaping the future of design and building. Until next time, stay inspired, keep building creatively.